Oh, good heavens. Hello. Okay, let's talk about topic Hutchison effect. Hutchison effect kind of ended at the very end, let's see, beginning of 2008. Excuse me, I coughed. And why did it end? Because there was a major effect happened that affected the city of New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada. Filming at the time was a gentleman, Tom Sky, who felt the energy surge and actually wound up in hospital in Los Angeles. It's quite amazing. He's filming. He was with his uncle, who I don't know what happened to his uncle. I didn't feel anything. Then there was complaints coming in to City Hall about objects moving around by themselves in apartment buildings, as well as other odd things. So I talked to Dr. Danny about it, and she said that yeah, there was something. I talked to a biologist. I forget his name, but everybody seemed to know about it. Okay, then, interestingly, the fire marshal and the mayor of New Westminster, who I know personally, who's a friend of Cliff Jan, as well as myself, was getting complaints to City Hall, and that brought in the fire marshal, who then suggested that all the stuff be removed and not put in storage. Luckily, I had a lawyer with me, a friend, who helped me through the process. Um, yeah, so then some of it made mainstream media, which is uploaded on the internet, most of it. Michael McCardle, Brent Gilbert, or Brent Gilbert was it or no? Interviewed some of the people, tenants, and that. However, I wanted to mention that prior to this, the fire marshal did inspect my place, as well as structural engineers, and it passed. Everything passed okay. There's no fire allowed, no problems. No structural damage, no problem. That all changed after this one incident, which had me kind of concerned because I phoned Ken Shoulders at the time, explained what happened, and as I recall, he said, "Oh no, oh wow." He said, "Be careful. I'll probably be coming up to see you." Then I phoned actor Steven Seagal, who was still at Kelly LeBrock's place on Mandeville Canyon Road, who I known for a while before that, and explaining to him because he has a great knowledge of a lot of stuff that's parapsychological. I did not contact John Alexander. I don't think, maybe I did. I don't know. However, so what happened was that we complied a little bit to unload the balcony antennas and things, which went to Paul Pincott of Can-Am Import at Bridge Studios in Burnaby, British Columbia. Okay. By that time, I then got through that okay. It was kind of disappointing. We lowered things. It was pictures of us lowering stuff off the balcony with a lawyer friend of mine. And after that, we didn't put anything in storage. We left a lot of the stuff there, really. And I guess there's some political issues or something, I don't know. But the fire marshal approved everything and signed off, and the mayor, prior to that, the mayor of New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada, suggested that I move stuff to a large industrial building, and he took me on a tour of some building that was used in shipbuilding. I should have taken his offer, but I did not. Other things happened in my life, and then I took off to Minnesota to meet Nancy stayed there for a year. Oh wow! So other film crews who did this prior to Tom or after Tom was, I'm trying to remember if it was before all this, with Dr. Thurston Ludwig, who did 2 weeks of filming, and it's up on the internet, as well as History Channel, Earth Black Holes, and a few other TV people filmed. But this incident prompted me, well, I can't really do this here, so I did put the whole thing on eBay and did sell it to a German research group who was into anti-gravity. There was 9 tons shipped there, and also another 9 tons went to Minnesota, because wow, this is quite a story, isn't it? I agreed to work with Nancy and help heal the Gulf of Mexico of the oil, and you can check out all the test results on slideshare.net. John K. Hutchison. That was 2010, 2010. Wow, man. Wow. Sound like Biden. His name is Biden. Biden. Come on, man. And I was working on building this piece, making an elevating mechanism for a cannon. Anyway, so that is kind of the end of that whole adventure. Then worked with Jesse Ventura on Death Ray, but didn't really have enough to show him some major results. But I want to mention that particular incident. The fire marshal, the mayor of New Westminster, Wayne, okay, I'm trying to remember names now. Wayne Wright of New Westminster, British Columbia. Who was the fire marshal? He was at Ground Zero, by the way, a long time ago. He was one of the last, he said he was one of the last to come out or something. I don't understand all that stuff, but that's what he said. Why the topic of 9/11 came up, I don't know. Maybe the metal samples that he looked at. I don't know. But anyway, so the mayor, a New West fire marshal, felt it was just very dangerous. And it is dangerous to do it in a very dense populated area. I agree with them. Things just sort of went along when I worked on a Navy ships for 5 years and reconditioning all the gear I got off of that and adding other things, high voltage, and playing around, messing around. Too lazy to move to an industrial site, which I used to have before. It was Yin who got the apartment, not me. So things were in transition and flux and everything else. So prior to that, there was actually no complaints, and I don't know what it did with the equipment to create those outstanding effects that affected the city. But it did worry me quite a bit for me to phone people like Ken Shoulders and Seagal and a few others and talk with Dr. Danny, who's a personal friend for a long, long time, who's in life extension, a naturopathic doctor. I don't know if I mentioned to my physician at all, who I see once in a long time. I probably had, and I just don't remember her response, if she responded at all. Probably. But anyway, and just around that time, Tracy Boyd, formerly NBC News, wanted to write my life story as well as do a TV series. And that's weird too, because she wrote up all these, I still got the emails, wrote up all these contracts, and this is what I should do, this is who I should not talk to. With Ken Frost, a person by the name of Durga, and meetings in Vancouver City in her kind of plush apartment and a high riser. There is at the same time that Jean Manning had her book review in downtown Vancouver. I was there, and Breakthrough Power, I believe. Jeannie and I have been knowing each other since like the early '80s, like brother and sister. Anyway, Jeannie was there. I guess I told her all that stuff, and then also had a video of my lawyer as well as being with Jean Manning. And there is just, it's on the internet somewhere. Wow, this time flies. So anyway, Lama Lee appeared on TV talking about her ornaments dissolving and stuff like that. Okay, back to Germany. It did sell on eBay, shipped over there, because the whole load in a 400 square foot apartment was 18 tons, believe it or not. It's been covered by many media people. Anyway, so they bought it, and the other deal was that they'd give me, I think it was $10,000 to show them how to operate it, but unfortunately, they bought it in mid-elimination of stuff. They only got about half of what is needed. I didn't really say anything. I just wanted to get the heck out of there. So that happened. And they wanted me to come to Germany and teach them how to operate it. They even came in person to Minnesota and put these models of all the machines down on the carpet on the floor in their stay hotel, wanting to know all the different positions. And Timo, his name is Timo, by the way. I got his emails, kind of begging me to go to Germany and to operate it. And then, out of the blue, Bob Greener, Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. I saw this video of Bob Greener looking at the equipment and the Germans explaining it to him, as well as metal samples. So it's kind of all these different strange things happening. And that's recently, like 2017 or... Yeah, about 2017 I think I've seen that one. Bob did a video on all the gear, so... Well, I just wanted to mention that, because I get questions and comments, and it's not the government. However, that was the lab was to go to Germany, the big industrial lab was to go to Germany, but it turned into a political mess, and lawyers and governments and German government, Canadian government. Well, you know, it's dangerous and contains PCBs, which is, some of it did, yeah. So they took it all and put it into a mini storage warehouse, put a high fence around it with a warning sign, do not trespass. This is all in the newspapers, so I got all the stuff on that, and the lawyers and all of that stuff, and there was Boeing Aerospace. Aaron Kovacs funded $80,000 for testing and all that back then. But they dissolved. Yin was involved. She got all the lawyers, Dodson his name was, and other lawyers, Kowalski and company, went to the Supreme Court of British Columbia, the whole case, and stated that I was allowed to use my laboratory. And I have all the papers. So that was a Supreme Court ruling that I was allowed into my own space, kind of thing. So, my God, that was 1980, 89. Then I just left with the into Germany, Deutschland, and by invitation of Roland Brito and Dr. Peter Kokoschnig and wife, Dr. Margarita Kokoschnig, where I lived for 2 years, and went to Munich to visit Roland and traveled with Yin around the place. So, I don't know, if you have any ideas about this odd effect I experienced in the beginning of 2008, and the history I just mentioned, let me know. One person said it was like a cleaning. effect. I believe it was Dr. Danny. It was something to do with elimination of parasites. The biologist seemed to know what it was. I forget his name. I'm very sorry, but there's been so many different things going on. Lama Lee, who's known me for quite a while, has experienced a lot of weird things, especially with the odd pink dilithium crystals, which Nicole Whitney News for the Soul TV show has still. They affected people. And Yin knows about them. Lama Lee, Marianne Miller, Nicole Whitney, News for the Soul TV, Peter Williams of CNN, and others, as well as Dr. Danny. How long have I been chatting now for? Oh, good heavens. 15 minutes, oh well. It uploads fast at night, so why not mention these things? It might be something important. It might be just all you think is just a bunch of gibberish or incomprehensible nonsense or incomprehensible John Hutchison talking again, Major. But anyway, this topic came up today, and because I'm going to be doing this kind of stuff again here, for the fun of it, I guess. And it's different because it's not compressed living. It's very different environment than in a 400 square foot apartment, third floor, floor above me, floor below me, and to each side of me, people. Although I'd run these things during the daytime because most people are working and they leave their place. I react very fast to the machine because I know it's hyper dangerous. I get like that, you know. I mean, we're talking, especially in the industrial spaces, at least 400,000 volts AC and DC with the killing amperes. I mean, I had substation transformers, which are properly operated and never had any accidents. Weird things that did happen was a water main broke during the McDonnell Douglas test with Jack Houck. That flooded a next door neighbor. There was some other strange things. The pole transformer blew up because I put pennies in the old-fashioned screw-in fuses to test my 400,000 volt X-ray transformer, all 2,000 pounds of it, or 1,500 pounds. And that thing was the effects on the terminals was incredible. Sometimes see that when they do switchgear with substations, they pull away and there's a big arc that goes up with the switchgear and that. That was a lot of stuff happened in that place. That was where the first television show was done with Alan Edwards of BCTV News, Grant Fredericks. Who else was there? The CBC. There was movie people there. Always the contractors for the military come around because Brian Bordell drove limo airport to hotel and always mentioned me and should come over and see what John's doing, and they would. As I mentioned before, one contractor had a little levitation pyramid thing in a C-shaped whatever it was. He gave me $100 for the demo. He's a well-dressed guy in a suit. And there's a bunch of other characters came around too. Professors and sometimes just, you know, somebody off the street. But anyway, there was not that issue in the industrial spaces, in the government-funded spaces, 144, 142 Riverside Drive, North Vancouver, British Columbia, Colonel Alexander and Los Alamos and Naval Research Labs. We had a lot of equipment that failed. Excuse me. And there was a hand-drawn plow thrown across the room, as well as a piece of plastic that exploded. There's pictures of me holding it. However, and there was a molybdenum bar that Colonel John Alexander mentioned was bent with an S curve. However, the demo was in Los Alamos. Thought it was a failure. Well, we had how many pieces of equipment that were blew up? Weird. I mean, really weird. And they were crucial for the experiments, especially the pulsating direct current high voltage spark gap system. Those units kept going one after another and burning out. One guy from Los Alamos wore a suit with all these little gas tubes that he could take and run along the wall and floor, and he said this tells me a lot more than oscilloscopes and spectrum analyzers. Well, I forget his name. Damn, I have to look at my files. I think it's Bob Freeman, Bob Freiberg. Freeman's one of them, and a bunch of other guys. But, you know, the experiment is true. You have a target area, it should work. This would wander all over the place and cause big problems. So, it happened with the Canadian government people as well. Dr. Lauren A. Kuhn, Dr. Wilkin, Dr. Wilson of DREP, George Hathaway, and Dr. Lauren A. Kuhn. Unfortunately, the videos they took, I could never get access to them. And I had to go through my member of parliament who tried to get them too, and other people. Hey, well, long story, I'm way off topic, but oh well. I think it's time for a smoke break, Major. Okay, that's my little story for the day. How many? Okay, time to shut up. Smile, you're on camera. Okay, bye.